What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Jo, and today we're going to be reacting to Did Getting Rich Ruin His Life? So I'm guessing this video is about Steve Will Do It. So let's get into today's video.
Seeing this man for years, I ran across veteran YouTuber Steve. So after not seeing this man for years, I ran across veteran YouTuber Steve Will Do It giving a house tour and flexing his really cool car collection. So I included a clip from it in my Rich and Out of Touch video. And someone commented on that video that they have a cousin that works for MGM Grand, and he said that Steve and Dana, assuming Dana White, are down $30 to $50 million at the casino. And I thought, that's crazy. But it's probably not true, until I realized that in 2025, it actually came out that Dana White owed the Red Rock Casino $25 million. But the Red Rock is not an MGM property. So I went to check out what Steve was doing since he made a comeback on YouTube. And if you don't know, his name is Steve Will Do It because he'll do anything. So in the first video I saw, and this is what a day in his life looks like, and it explains a lot. Now, in his own words, he's in a financial crisis. So, to impress a stripper, he buys her a $50,000 Mercedes, and as he's rolling the tire into the dealership, the stripper, he buys her a own words, he's in a financial crisis. So, to impress a stripper, he buys her a $50,000 Mercedes, and as he's rolling the tire into the dealership, he gets his hands dirty. So, he walks over to use the hand sanitizer, and because he kinda interrupted this random guy in the middle of a car sale, he just hands him a handful of cash. So he does that, buys the Mercedes, gives it away, and then he buys his homie a chain, and he reiterates that he cannot afford to spend money like this. But before he leaves the jewelry store, he does a coin flip for $100,000. And this is part of a pattern I noticed. Steve loves gambling. Because after this, he does a $250,000 coin flip, but lucky for him, it was with one of the few guys that actually owes him money. But later, right before coin flip number 3, he casually admits that for the 100K giveaways that he does for his fans, he is making payment plans.
I do the 100K giveaway and I do payment plans.
And then he and his buddy coin flip for $1 million house. And this video came out in January 2026. So then I watched the video from December. That kind of made me second guess if that guy's comment about Steve owing so much money to a casino was true. So this girl, Corinna, says she has 8 cars. And on his plane, she tells Steve that she doesn't want another car because again, she has 8.
Somebody else, dude, I have 8 cars.
But Steve doesn't care, so he gives her another car anyway. But that's small money, because at the beginning of this video, he explains that he flew to Las Vegas with an entire fleet of crazy luxury cars to gamble with them, as well as his plane at the Red Rock Casino, because he owes the casino $1.6 million, something that he also said on social media. Now, I've seen some people online say that they don't believe that because Steve is close with Dana White, the current CEO of the UFC, and that the UFC is somehow connected to the Red Rock Casino, so it's all just a promo thing. But the only connection I found was with the former UFC CEO, Lorenzo Fertitta, because Lorenzo is the director of the Red Rock Casino, but he hasn't been a CEO or had a stake in UFC ever since he sold all of his shares a decade ago. So if someone else is funding Steve's gambling at the Red Rock, it's not the UFC, and I really don't think this is a promo. And what further leads me to believe that all of this is authentic is the fact that he brought $5 million worth of cars in an effort to, in his words, get even or get worse. And since he's doing it to try and clear his $1.6 million debt, that leads me to believe that he is quite literally gambling with his assets because he doesn't have the money. Like, he has money, but it's credit. So if he uses assets that he actually owns, then he can pay off his debt without acquiring more debt. But before he can even walk into the casino, he just has to gamble in some way. So he tells the valet at the door to run a route and he'll be the quarterback. And that if the valet catches the money, he can keep it. Which goes into something else that I learned. Steve is very, very, very generous. Like, you can say that he crosses lines, boundaries, and says things that he shouldn't.
He walks down there.
But when it comes to giving to strangers, and says things that he shouldn't.
He walks down there.
But when it comes to giving to strangers, I haven't seen many people match his generosity outside of Mr. Beast.
I made this for you.
The man gives like a billionaire, but he's actually in debt.
10,000, yeah.
I don't believe that.
And all of this had me questioning the reality. Like, is this real? Could this man really be this much in debt, but he's just having so much fun that he doesn't care? Like, he's earning money, and he has wealthy friends that trust him that will give him loans because he does pay people back. Like, he paid this guy for, I guess, hitting his car or something with what I can only assume was cash that he only had because of credit. And he also does a 50-50 spin for a Rolex before he can leave. Because again, Steve loves gambling. But yeah, people loan him money because they know he's good for it. Like right here, he's sitting in a van explaining to everyone that he is down $9 million. Or he will be after this video. Like, he planned to extend his debt.
Bro, that's crazy. If you sit down and think about it, down $9 million, damn.
To $9 million by spending all of his friends' money. But I'm pretty sure he's not just able to run up this much credit without making a lot of money. Like, right before he buys this random guy a car, he puts down $30,000 to finance a car for himself. So is he just running up this credit because he knows he'll eventually be able to pay it off? Because from the outside looking in, it looks like Steve is just having a lot of fun without really considering the possibility of going completely broke. Because, well, I guess he always has assets that he can leverage. And if I'm being completely honest, he also appears to be under the influence of something. Like, to me at least, Steve looks a bit older than he actually is. Now, he's been around for a long time, so I assumed that he was a man in his mid-30s. But he is 27. Just by looking at him, I did not expect us to be so close in age. But that might have a lot to do with his lifestyle. Still though, I don't think having money really changed him that much. Like, sure, you can say he's a bit more out of touch, but that's to be expected. But in reality, it seems like he's over the top now because he was always over the top. And one of the things he was known for was never backing down from extreme challenges involving alcohol. Which looks crazy if you've never been to college, but I can't really say that all of it was over the top because being around the same age, I was still in college around the time Steve was chugging bottles, and to be honest, I was kind of doing the same thing. All I did was party in college, but the difference is I was broke. Steve reminds me of that one guy on campus that if you wanted him to do something, all you had to do was tell him that he wouldn't do it. But back to the gambling. The more I watch old videos of him, and new ones, the easier it is for me to believe everything he says. He has been completely upfront about the fact that he accumulates a lot of debt through credit. Like here, Steve is explaining one of his methods of not bringing cash to the casino and instead asking the casino to loan him $10,000. So he says that and then loses the $10,000. And just like he explained it, he then borrows $20,000 in an attempt to win back the $10,000 he didn't have in the first place. And they give it to him. They give it to him, and you'll never guess what happens next. Unless, of course, you guess that he would lose the $20,000. So just like that, without even bringing any money into the casino, he now owed them $30,000. And there's so much footage of him in casinos that it makes me wonder, how much of this is he doing off camera? Because it has to be a lot. Now, of course, if Steve wants to go $10 million in debt from gambling or outrageous spending, that is, of course, his right. He put in the work to make all this money, so you could say he also earned the right to spend it all. And if he's good for the credit, then hey, who am I to argue against the people loaning it to him? I just wondered if this would ever turn out bad for him. Or if it already has and we just don't notice. I mean, it can't be too bad. In debt or not, he's still living a very lavish life that the average 27-year-old could only dream of.
Yeah, but I mean, the dude did say in the comments that his cousin worked there and he down 25 M's. That's a lot of money, man.
And honestly, I've never seen anyone make being in debt look this fun. Like, if this is what being in debt looks like, I want to be in debt. No, I'm just playing. But I'm not making this video to call him an idiot. I'm just genuinely curious. Because like I said, he gives generously to pretty much anyone he comes across. He did originally get banned from YouTube for promoting gambling, specifically with stake. And this was back when the rules were a bit different on YouTube. And you guys already know how I feel about that. But the main reason I wouldn't do it is because I don't gamble, especially not in online casinos. The only time I'd gamble is on vacation in Las Vegas. But Steve promoting it, on the other hand, as much as I don't like the odds most people have when they do it, I can't say that he's promoting something that he himself doesn't do, because he does it a lot, and he seems to really, really like it. So him taking a sponsorship from something like Stake, I can't really say that he would just be doing it for the bag, because this man seems to really love gambling, and he'd be doing it with or without a sponsorship. Do I think Steve has a problem? Yes. But I think even Steve thinks that he has a problem. But he's having fun. So I guess we'll just have to leave him to it. I hope that he can get out of his financial crisis. But as of right now, he seems to be doing pretty well considering everything I just talked about in this video. But this is truly something I've never seen before. Like, we've seen creators gamble too much and crash out, or do something compromising for a bag that destroys their reputation. But Steve, he's just, well, Steve. He's a pretty reckless guy, but you have to admit, he does embody.
I mean, he is rich and he's just living life, man. You know what I'm saying? But He is down with a lot of money though, man. Like I hope he don't go broke, man. But he shit, 25 million in debt.
The pure essence of a 2017 YouTuber. He's like a time capsule. But thank you guys for listening as always. I do have a live stream planned soon, but of course, I'll see you next time.
Hey man, W video, bro. This was a real deal nice video, man. I ain't even know none of this stuff about Steve Will Do It, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna put the link to this video down below in my description. I thank everybody for watching today's video. Peace.